Architects and engineers for 911 Truth have made the crucial and informed point that it was impossible for a plane hitting the top of the towers of the World Trade Center to bring down the entire edifices, but have proved, rather, that successive explosions occurred on various floors below. The following clip, produced by American Patriot on the LiveLink website, illustrates the most convincing analysis of these successive explosions as one's eye moves from the top of the tower to an ongoing continuum of explosions on successive stories below. American Patriot quotes Scott Forbes, who worked as a data administrator on the 97th floor of the South Tower, that power was switched off for 36 hours the weekend prior to the 911 takedown, an unprecedented and first-time event. Drawing the conclusion that interior demolition devices were obviously installed prior to the attack, the conjecture that the 911 tragedy was planned, engineered, and executed by Zionist interests is gaining greater currency, even among such notables as Dr. Alan Sabrowski, former professor of the U.S. Army College.
It is 100% certain that 9/11 was a Mossad operation, period.
In his landmark article, Treason, Betrayal, and Deceit, 911 and Beyond, Dr. Sabrowski concludes that only the Israeli intelligence agency, the Mossad, had the expertise, assets, the access, and the political protection to execute 911 in the air and on the ground. Using the who benefits principle, Sabrowski points out that the Mossad's incentive dovetailed perfectly with the Jewish neocons program for a catalytic event to mobilize the American public for their Zionist wars, using American military power to destroy Jewry's enemies abroad, and I add, to create a police state at home to stifle any criticism of Jewry's activities and agenda.
We are completely shocked, unbelievable.
There were conspiracies all over, certainly within the Arab world, but even beyond that, Mossad is the only one who had the power and the strength and the organizational skills to pull off something that spectacular. That somehow Israel was behind that for political gain. Do you feel like that's the dark side of the reputation of Mossad?
Well, like everything in life, there's a downside to the mystique as well. At 9/11, I was head of the Mossad, and within hours of the event becoming public, there were rumors flying around the Middle East that this was a Mossad operation, because after all, one of the immediate results of the 9/11 was clearly a very, very severe backlash of international approbation of Islam in general. Islam had a very bad day. The Saudis had a very bad day. Muslim countries had a very bad day, including moderate countries. So who benefits from it? And as you know, even in crime, the immediate question is asked, who benefits? Who benefits from something?
Right.
Obviously, Israel benefited. The Jewish people benefited. So it was the Mossad.
Sabrowski also observes that the Jewish-owned mainstream media is more interested in publicizing Sarah Palin's wardrobe than presenting the overwhelming dissenting views challenging the official 911 narrative from experts in various disciplines, whether architects, engineers, scientists, scholars, pilots, or firemen. In a subsequent article, Israel's Hidden Faces, Dr. Sabrowski presents circumstantial evidence that links 911 to the Mossad and its Judaic agents in America. The most striking points of Dr. Sabrowski's expose and my own research are: 1. The controlled demolition of Tower 7, upon which no plane hit, when Larry Silverstein, Jewish owner of the World Trade Center, ordered the tower taken down hours later with the words, "Pull it," proves that if one building was wired for controlled demolition, then all three were as well.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull. And then we watched the building. From here, we watched the building collapse.
2. The company providing security to the World Trade Center, Kroll Associates, was apparently operated by Zionists. 3. The owners and operators of Kroll Associates and their immediate relatives were absent, save one Gentile new employee the morning of 9/11, and only 3 out of 4,000 Israelis working at the towers were at their jobs and died in the explosions. And Larry Silverstein, Jewish owner of the World Trade Center, just so happened to have a doctor's appointment that morning.
Where were you on September 11th?
I was home. And
I understand you had daily breakfast meetings with people, I think, in the Windows of the World, the famous restaurant, the World Trade Center.
That's correct.
But you weren't there for breakfast on the day of September 11th. Why was that?
that morning, my wife had made an appointment for me at the dermatologist, who I have to visit with regularity, right? And as I'm dressing to go to the dermatologist that morning, I looked at my wife and said, you know, I've got so much to do downtown. Cancel the dermatologist. I've got to go downtown. She got upset. She said, you can't cancel. You've got to go.
Was that Larry Silverstein's luck?
It was clearly my luck.
4. 5 Israelis were seen filming the explosions on a roof in nearby New Jersey and visibly celebrating, having set up their cameras before the first plane hit. Soon after their arrest, and in spite of the evidence against them, they were released and the case dropped by the then head of the U.S. Department of Justice Criminal Division and soon-to-be Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, Talmudic Jew and Israeli dual citizen, Michael Chertoff.
I could see the towers from my window, and this is where I'm looking. And all of a sudden, down there, I see this van parked. And I see 3 guys on top of the van. And I could see that they were like happy. You know, they didn't look shocked to me. You know, they didn't look shocked. I thought it was very strange.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad. The fact of the matter is, we are coming from a country that experiences terror daily. Our purpose was to document the event. Our purpose was to document the event.
That I'm telling you is that's all we did. You know, we stopped him. You know, the FBI came along and interviewed him.
You walked out in front of it and you stopped it.
Yeah, we just put our hands up and asked them to get out of the vehicle. They didn't listen, and we removed them.
And did you have your weapons drawn?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. And you were pointing the weapons at the driver and you said, get out of the car?
Correct.
And the driver didn't listen?
No. I was kind of chatty, but hey, we're not your enemy, we're your friend. Our enemies are your enemies or whatever. At that point, they said they were from Israel or something, and I don't remember exactly what they said, but it was something along them lines.
Did you think that was something strange for this guy to make an unsolicited comment like that?
At the time, I didn't put much weight to it.
The 5 Israelis were detained for 10 weeks and finally deported on immigration violations after the FBI cleared them of any involvement in 9/11.
5. The 911 Commission was stacked with pro-Israel appointees, with the Jewish executive director, Philip Zelikow, ensuring that nothing deflecting attention from Osama bin Laden and his supposed 19 Arab accomplices would make the final report. My friends, what we have here is the obvious guilt of the Mossad and the complicity of its Judaic agents in America of the 9/11 tragedy. All that is missing, as Dr. Sobrowski so eloquently points out, is a public confession.